Hello friends, my name is Ashish Singh. Today I'll be telling you about ServiceMesh and Istio in nutshell. So for explaining this, I'll be taking one example. We'll start with what is ServiceMesh. Basically, ServiceMesh is used to obtain these features which are mentioned on the right side of the screen, which is secure, connect, observe, and control. Okay, let's take this example. In this example, I've taken a UI microservice, which is talking to two versions of catalog, and then which talks to inventory. All of these are microservices deployed inside the Kubernetes cluster. So first one, as I explained, this secure. So why anyone want to uses the service mesh is because they want to secure the network. So and they want MTLS when one service is talking to other. And the next one is they want to dynamically configure how the services are connected to each other. So in this example, there is a catalog 1 and catalog 2. So if we want to send 90% of traffic to version 1 and 10% to version 2, uh, the service mesh will be useful in this case also. And we can add a retrace also, which was not there in the simple Kubernetes cluster. And then a third one is if I want to observe how my application is doing end to end, not just the services which are up or down, but to see the bottleneck also in the system and how the traffic is flowing. So the third one is observation of the traffic. And the last one is control. So basically, I want to control which services has what access. In this example, like UI is allowed to talk to catalog, and catalog is allowed to talk to inventory, but UI is not allowed to talk to inventory directly. And then you can get a more granular than that, and say that UI is allowed to make HTTP GET requests, and catalog is allowed to make POST requests. What happens in past, developers used to program all the features directly into the application itself. So that was making the application very heavy, and it was slowing down the dev cycle, and the microservices were becoming very bigger. This was making everything very less flexible. But now there is a better way, and that is called basically service mesh, and you can keep the application small and business oriented, and instead you dynamically program your intelligence in the network and keep it aside the actual application. So basically this exactly Istio does. So when you have Istio installed, first it will install the proxies next to each one of your containers. And these proxies are basically envoy proxies, and proxy itself run on the container next to your application, but runs inside the same Kubernetes part. Now, when a UI wants to talk to catalog, the proxy will take that request, and it will apply the policies. Then it will route the traffic to the other side of the proxy, which is catalog proxy. And then catalog proxy will receive this traffic, and it will route to catalog. So Istio will configure each one of these proxy with your desired configuration. Istio extends the Kubernetes using CRDs. To apply Istio configuration, you can write your own YAML file. And these YAML files are basically pushed to component which is called Galley. Galley will receive the YAML file, and it will validate the file, and then Galley will forward this to Pilot. Pilot is also a component of Istio, and then Pilot will push this configuration to all of the proxies which is already installed there in the uh, cluster. And then the next component is policy. So if you want to impose the additional policies, so this component will come in the picture and it will impose the required policies in the network. The next one is the telemetry. What telemetry does? Telemetry will, it's a component. It will receive all the metrics, parametrics things. And this is also I'll explain about policy and telemetry components later in this slide. Then the next one is Citadel. Citadel is the component which is actually responsible for generating the certificates. Okay, and then to get started with Istio, we should take care of three major things. First one is gateway. It is like a load balancer. It sits at the edge of your mesh, and it keeps all incoming and outgoing HTTP TCP connections. Next one is virtual services, which is next to the gateway. So virtual service, it creates the virtual uh, path. It decides where to route the traffic inside the cluster. And the third one is destination rules. Destination rules are basically which will decide the actual rules where the traffic should be routed. And then I'll put the asterisk on telemetry and policy. Basically, these two logics will be pushed inside the proxy itself to reduce the ping pong and reduce the traffic, unnecessary traffic. So, yep, this was all about Istio and ServiceMesh and in a nutshell. Thanks.